Hello everyone, welcome to You Already Know. In today's broadcast, we're going to be talking about joy. This is the third one in the series. The other two are on Instagram TV. One is already pushed out to youtube.com/Shaylee Edwards, along with almost 200 other videos. Hey! Woo! All right, welcome. Hey everybody. So today it came to me to talk about joy and how close it really is. Mind-blowingly close. So our minds create these mazes as to what we need to do, fix, solve, understand, heal, blah, 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 so that we can feel good. And at first, that maze is oriented around external objectives, external achievements, tangible things. Once I have this, once I've done that, once I blah, blah, blah. And then let's say you get hip to the healing game and you start to move your focus in-house, internally point what you're achieving. And then you do the same thing. It's so silly. Once I transcend this, forgive that, become at peace with this, and then I will feel joy. I'm finding, and I recognize that I'm only tuned into a particular part of the consciousness, the collective, and the part that reflects my own, most likely, that in that little band of people that there is some hesitation to be joyful because of other things that have happened or are not yet present. And oh man, does that mean you don't actually care? And if you are happy, will you work hard enough to do the thing that you know you need to do? Yes. Yes, you will. I think it's either Abraham Hicks or Seth from Jane Roberts, the Seth material, something about like how joy is not this backboneless thing, like how powerful joy is. I personally have been experimenting in studying my own like optimal conditions. How do I perform my best? What feels the best? When am I doing my best work? And I find that it really is when I feel good about it, when I feel good about myself. If I tie how I'm feeling about myself to what I have done, haven't yet done, etc., I can't access joy. And so it creates this kind of like puzzle, this like Cohen, this insolvable thing where I want to be in a state of joy so I can do my best work. But if I don't think that I'm worthy of being in joy until I've done my best work, you see what I'm saying? And so I guess today what I'd like to offer you is the possibility that you can give yourself permission to be in joy even if you haven't done it yet. And it felt to bring over my 528 hertz frequency tuner today. Actually, my mom had these sent ahead of her when she came to visit because she can't be without them. And so I'm going to hold this up here and I'm going to put that possibility out in the field. And if it's right for you, your spirit feels good about it, you can bring it down and try giving yourself permission to feel joy before you've done all the things you think you need to do. What I have found in joy is that it does take a little practice to be able to harness that intentionally. What used to happen for me anyhow is I get myself in a high state and then I'd want to go do stuff that might not necessarily include the things that I needed to do. That's okay. Isn't that cute? See how I offered myself forgiveness? See how I didn't need to explain that relative to my childhood? See how I didn't need to do anything except let that be what it was? It's okay. It's okay. So over time, I found that what works for me, I'm more so interested in empowering you and reminding you that you can do your own lab work and come to your own conclusions than to share with you mine. My lab work sharing is more or less to say like, hey, it can be done. Don't do it my way. Don't give a fuck about my way. Allow yourself the possibility that you can do it your way. So anyhow, for me, what I found is that if I can prime my mind, kind of like review my objectives, review them at a high level, what am I attempting to achieve at a value realization. What's really important to me? Well, to me, what's really important is the new world. And to me, that means that the possibility that we can participate here together with a higher level of consciousness and regard for ourselves and each other and the world that we find ourselves in. That's like my high level. And then as part of that, my own joy, because remember, I found that they're inexplicably linked. And I think that's the right word. And then I've in revealing a layer below that, I kind of found over time what would be most exciting for me to do relative to that objective. You can do that in any job you're in. Like, pick your high level value and then do the job you currently have with that in mind, whether that's picking up trash or stocking bookshelves or spreadsheets. Your work is how you approach your work, why you approach your work, more than what the thing is. I think going back to the puzzles of the mind, sometimes when we find that we feel called to purpose, we think that we need to find the exact vehicle for that until we live as if we are on and in purpose. But you don't have to. I forget, I was at the gallery when I first started doing my blessings and simulation cheat code art cards. A couple came through and I was explaining to them what they were, and the guy said, I feel like I'm, one of my art cards is around holy purpose, your holy why, your purpose. And he was like, oh, I feel like I live that way. I think he said some kind of municipality work where he was laying pipes or doing things like that. And he's like, I know that I'm bringing these resources to people so that they can, and he approaches and puts love in his work, knowing that he's affecting kind of all his ripple. And that's to say that, when you identify what is most important to you, and maybe you don't know, maybe you start by asking what is most important to me, and allow yourself to at least be curious about it. Sometimes we push down those bigger questions because we don't know how to approach them. Look, again, you do you, I support you doing you. For me, what I found, and often with people who are kind of attuned to me, that if you open the door, something will walk in. And open the door basically means I'm interested to find out what this is. Open the door and then go about your business, and either life will have a conversation with you or your spirit will have a conversation with you. It will or can be revealed over time. You don't have to wring it out of yourself if it's not readily available. Okay, let's do another round of okay. That's what it is. That's where we're at. So I was talking about how it's helpful for me, or I found that it's helpful for me once I kind of cultivate a state of joy to have an idea of where I want to point it. And I said I usually have, I review my high level objectives. What's the, what I think would be cool to see, and then I refine it further to what do I feel like I'm personally building. I found that I need that step. I can't just have the high level step. And again, that step can be how are you applying that to the job and life you already have, things you already touch. And then below that, I have a list of things that I'm adding to consistently about what needs to be done next. Really mundane stuff, whether it's get a battery for my scale, or respond to this client, or publish this content, or reach out to this person. I have these things. And for me, it's helpful to review them. So rather than scroll on Insta, rather than, do other weird stuff, I'll scroll those things on my phone to bring them forefront of mind, so that when I'm in the state of what for me is most productive, I can very easily and naturally know where to point it. And I'm excited because I've tied it all together in a way that, again, the most exciting thing for me, the thing that I value the most, I'm recognizing how all of those things kind of connect to it. So even if I'm talking to the very lower level detail, the objective task that might not be that fun, I recognize that it goes to the thing that I care about the most. And so wouldn't I care about the little thing too? I wasn't always able to do that. Resistance is a funny animal. Checking out, avoiding, really funny phenomenon. part of why I got into this behavioral metaphysicianing is because I was like, why the hell won't I do the things I know I need to do? And that could have been at an activity level, or good morning, or it could have been at like a relationship level. Why am I participating in something that doesn't feel good? Why aren't I advocating for myself in these ways? I didn't understand why I was behaving in these ways, and it was fascinating to me, albeit painful. And I guess like what I came to and why I teach self-love is I had to come to accept, one, what I was doing, and two, like, believe that it's possible, that it's important how I feel. And depending on your, early childhood training or other inclinations, you might have a hard time, like I did, to think like, I don't know, like I couldn't build out an alternative that felt consistently stable or felt consistently supportive. And so I wasn't necessarily looking for those things because I didn't know that they existed. That's okay. Let's do it. Oh no, there's no more okay. Oh yeah, we'll do this one. It's okay. So acceptance, every time I'm doing this, I'm bringing you to the present. So here is kind of like, you are here. It's like your you are here pin. When you've let go of these ideas of how things should be, or where you should be, or how you should be, or where they were, or what those folks are doing, or why they're doing them, you bring yourself back to here. You'll bring it here. The more of you that's here, the more available you are to the information that's present, and the more likely you'll respond to it intelligently. Think about an athlete on the field. They want to be able to, field awareness, high field awareness, and also some level of relaxation. You can't necessarily think and play at high level. It's more synthesized than that. It's like a different kind of intelligence. Similarly, if your head is other places, your energy is split, you're worried, you're tense, like, are you really playing on the field the best that you can? Are you taking in and responding to things the best that you can? For me, I found that the answer is no. Does this mean you don't think? No. Does this mean that you don't consider things that aren't here and now? No. It's recognizing when you're doing it in a way that doesn't serve you. And then you say very cutely, self-hug, come on home, honey. Come on home. You being silly, get over here. Get over here. And you bring yourself back to where you are. One of the big patterns under all the other patterns that you might be trying to fix is one of self-rejection. Self-rejection says, like, you should do it better than you're doing it. And you can use self-rejection, that kind of criticism, that critical dialogue, on your critical dialogue. And that means, like, when you're not being kind to yourself, you are unkind to you about being unkind, or you are critical about, like, you want to, like, acceptance. It's okay, bringing you home. Again, don't believe me, do your own lab work, but try. But for me, that's what I found for myself and my clients, that generally brings people back to here in a way that they can do something creative. This is such an interesting point you make. I was recently thinking about how everything requires energy and space, as in what are we creating space and reserving our energy for on a day-to-day basis. Thank you. Yes, I find that in the channel that I have, one of the channels that I have, I think it's called Let Us Breathe now. Yesterday I shared this, I don't know if it was a quote, it was like some text that's like, you have this many seconds per day. After you don't use them, they burn. Then you have new seconds. Yeah, I think that, like, that's one illustration of the resources that we have available. But it does, and so you've got, like, money, love, emotion, physical energy, time. Like, are you using those things in a way that they add or, take away? And I think that I found for myself, it took some time to get me in alignment with actually what mattered because of these different forces in the background. That's okay. That's okay. Say with me, that's okay. Like, if you start by saying that's okay, you get at that underlying self-rejection, which helps make you feel or think that you're worthy. And then as you think or feel that you're worthy, you start to take care of yourself as if you were, and your choices start to, like, move in that direction. then that makes me feel this. The answer to our prayers is making ourselves available to actually receive the answer to our prayers. Just some thoughts. Thank you for being here. Oh, that's lovely. I like that. I'm going to read that again. Thank you. Thank you for that. The answer to our prayers is us making ourselves available to actually receive the answer to our prayers. Oh, I'm going to give you that. Yeah, I agree. Okay, anything else today? No. That's it for today. So thank you so much for coming out. Again, there's some of these on YouTube. This will be out on YouTube. I'll be out here as often as I feel inspired. But hopefully on the regular. Oh, interesting. I can hear something right now. Let's just breathe together for a second. I feel comes to me to suggest to be thankful. There's more to say. So I have, like I said, this on YouTube, and then I also am selling art, and I'm delighted to represent artists in the New Orleans area and beyond, and to share what they're doing and sell what they're doing. If you have any questions about the artists, they're on my profile. They're also, if you go through my link to the button that says art, you can find them there. I also have a tip jar button on there. If you find my content useful or helpful, tips are useful or helpful to me. I also have a button where you can book a session. If you're not ready or sure if you're ready for a session, you can also go to my website or message me and schedule an info call, and we can talk a little bit about how we'd work together. So I've been working with clients since 2016. There's a lot of information about that on my website, habitbook.com. I love to do the work. It's the most fun thing to me in the world. And really it's this, beautiful, energetic collaboration synthesis where we kind of birth greater levels of awareness so that you can see things differently and do things differently in a way that, again, helps you line up. So I will build plans, sessions, tools for you to hear and feel yourself. It is not life coaching. I'm not advising you on how to do anything. I'm only taking you back to the part of you that can do that, to your sense of self, and we're clearing out junk. Super fun. It's oh, you don't need that idea. You don't need to carry that. And I'll illustrate. I actually do use images in a live shared document, and you'll be able to see why the things that you were thinking don't make sense. And when you see them differently, it changes how you do it, and you don't need to do it anymore. You actually won't, most of the changes you can't go back from, which is so cool. Let's see, something else to say. Yes, what else to say? Have a great day. Thanks so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. Please share, subscribe, and if you have any questions or feedback, let me know. Thank you so much for coming out today.